In the quiet, windswept reeds along Ocean Parkway on Long Island, New York, the bodies of young women kept appearing for more than 13 horrifying years. 11 victims in total, most of them sex workers, were dumped like pieces of garbage in the marsh grass, some carefully wrapped in burlap sacks, some dismembered, some still wearing the exact clothes they had on the night they disappeared forever. The press gave the unknown monster a name that still sends chills down the spine. The Long Island serial killer, or Lisk. For over a decade, desperate families begged police for answers, while investigators chased false leads, dead ends, and ghosts. Then, on July 13th, 2023, the nightmare finally cracked open when detectives walked up to a quiet suburban house in Massapequa Park and arrested a man who looked like anyone's next-door neighbor. His name was Rex Andrew Heuermann, 59 years old, married for decades, father of 2 children, a respected architect who commuted into Manhattan every day and designed buildings for high-profile clients. He lived in the same modest ranch-style home since the 1990s. By late 2024, Suffolk County prosecutors had charged him with 7 murders. First came the so-called Gilgo Four: Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, and Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Then 3 more: Sandra Costilla, Jessica Taylor, and Valerie Mack. The evidence they have laid out in court is nothing short of a forensic nightmare. Let's go back to where it all started. In May 2010, a 24-year-old escort named Shannon Gilbert vanished after leaving a client's house in the gated community of Oak Beach. Her panicked 911 call, in which she screamed that someone was trying to kill her, triggered one of the largest searches in Suffolk County history. During that frantic search, police stumbled upon the first 4 bodies lined up neatly along Ocean Parkway in December 2010. All 4 women had been strangled. All 4 were wrapped in burlap. Then more remains began turning up: torsos, legs, arms, some dating all the way back to the early 1990s. In total, 11 women, all connected by the same desolate stretch of road just a few miles from Heuermann's home. Melissa Barthelemy was only 24 when she disappeared from the Bronx in July 2007. Her sister Amanda later received chilling phone calls from Melissa's own phone, taunting calls from the killer himself. Megan Waterman, 22, vanished in June 2010 after meeting a client. Amber Costello, 27, disappeared in September 2010. Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 25, had been missing since July 2007. Each woman was working as an escort. Each had answered Craigslist or similar ads. Each was last seen getting into a vehicle. Their families have described them in court as daughters trying to survive, mothers who loved their children fiercely, women who deserved so much better than to end up discarded like trash in the Long Island marshes. The additional victims stretched the horror across 2 full decades. Sandra Costilla, 28, vanished in 1993. Jessica Taylor, 20, disappeared in 2003. Valerie Mack, 24, went missing in 2000. Some of their remains were found years later, only partial skeletons. The killer had been hunting for at least 13 years, operating in plain sight while families waited in agony. He coached his daughter's sports teams. He mowed his lawn every Saturday like clockwork. On the surface, he was the picture of suburban normal. But behind that ordinary facade, prosecutors say, lived one of the most sadistic serial killers in modern American history. Now, the man accused of all of it. Rex Heuermann's double life is the stuff of nightmares. His office computer and home hard drives contain thousands of deleted searches. How to dispose of a body without getting caught? How long does it take to strangle someone? Graphic torture fantasies and a detailed document literally titled Planning Document that listed step-by-step instructions for abducting, murdering and dumping victims. He kept hundreds of photos of the victims and other women saved in secret folders. The forensic evidence is overwhelming and ironclad. A half-eaten pizza crust tossed in the trash outside his Manhattan office contained Rex Heuermann's DNA, and it matched DNA found on one of the victims. Hairs from his wife and daughter were discovered on 3 of the bodies and on the burlap wrappings. His Chevrolet Avalanche pickup truck matched the exact tire tracks left at multiple dump sites. Burner phones recovered from his home and office were used to call the victims right before they vanished. Cell phone tower data placed him in the precise locations at the precise times each woman disappeared. When police arrested him in July 2023, he was wearing the same style of heavy work boots that left footprints at one of the crime scenes. Inside his house, they found firearms, ammunition, rope, and other items consistent with the murders. Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to every single count. In every court appearance, he sits completely stone-faced, showing zero emotion, while prosecutors describe in graphic detail how he allegedly picked up vulnerable women, took them to remote spots, tortured them, killed them, and then drove their bodies back to the same stretch of Ocean Parkway he knew like the back of his hand. One after another, relatives have sat in the gallery sobbing as the evidence unfolds. The trial date is now locked in stone. On January 13, 2026, Judge Timothy Mazzei looked straight at the defense team and declared, "This trial will begin right after Labor Day, come hell or high water." Advanced DNA evidence has been ruled fully admissible. Heuermann's lawyers keep filing last-minute motions to suppress his statements and point to alternate suspects, but every motion has been denied or delayed. The families have waited 13 long years for this. In 2025, hearings, Melissa Barthelomy's sister stood outside court and said, "We want to look him in the eye and finally ask why. Why our sister? Why any of them?" Megan Waterman's mother told reporters, "He didn't just destroy those girls' lives. He destroyed every single one of our families. He doesn't get to hide behind that calm face anymore." 11 families still wait for complete justice. 11 women whose lives were stolen and thrown away like garbage on a lonely beach. Rex Heuermann may look like the quiet architect who waves good morning to his neighbors, but the mountain of DNA, hairs, tire tracks, burner phones, deleted searches and that cold planning document tells the real story. The story of a monster who lived among us for decades, hunting in the shadows. The Gilgo Beach nightmare that began with one terrified 911 call in 2010 is finally heading to trial in September 2026. When it does, the entire world will hear every horrifying detail. The families will finally get their day in court, and the man accused of being the Long Island serial killer will have to answer for the 11 lives he is charged with taking. No matter how ordinary and harmless someone appears on the outside, true evil can hide right next door for years. This is the true crime case that has shocked America, kept investigators digging for more victims, and left an entire region terrified to this day. The beach that once held only silence is about to give up its final, darkest secrets in a courtroom for all the world to see. As the echoes of this case fade into the night, one truth remains. Some shadows never fully lift. The unanswered questions, the whispers in the dark, the lives forever changed. They linger. Here, at Shadows of the Unresolved, we peel back the layers of the cases that refuse to rest. If you felt that chill, if you need to know what hides just beyond the light, hit that subscribe button now, turn on notifications, step deeper into the shadows with us. Because the truth is still out there, waiting. Until the next unresolved mystery, stay watchful.